Hello and welcome back to Tai'Shar Wheel of Time podcast. I'm Sam.
I'm Will.
We are here today doing a little show update for you. A little bit more to talk about this time because we kind of missed one. So
Yeah. And by the way, sorry we missed last week. If you even noticed, I don't know how closely people follow.
I had to go on vacation, and also we have to evict some squirrels out of my attic. It's been a whole thing. I wish I was kidding about that, but
and I had a fairly busy week, but by the time it's funny, I got to it, some of my stuff ended up getting canceled, and then Sam was busy, and I didn't have time to prepare anyway, so we were both kind of ended up saying, you know what,
it's all good.
Yeah,
we're back. We'll always be back.
Week.
There will always be another book.
Yeah,
we will always be back.
Yes, the wheel just continues to turn, and there will be just another book in the future, as we're proving by going back and doing a couple of the books we've already done.
Right.
Anyway,
as we get into the show update here, just FYI to anyone who's in the midst of reading the books, has not read all the books, we will cover spoilery material. So just a little warning for you there.
You can catch up with us next week if you want to remain relatively unspoiled. If you need to hear our philosophy on spoilers, we discussed it in the last episode. We'll probably be discussing it again soon.
Yeah.
It's just as a reminder for everybody.
Mm-hmm. So let's get into some show updatage.
Yes. So as far as official news, the number one thing that we're all, of course, excited to hear is that filming has resumed. And, hooray.
Yay.
And in an interview with Collider, I think probably about Radioactive, Moraine herself, Rosamund Pike, confirmed that filming for The Wheel of Time has resumed. She marveled at the steps being taken to assure that the cast and crew are being kept safe, especially, she said, because of the size of the production. She said that there were something like 500 people or more working on the show.
Wow.
Which I was actually very excited to just hear that detail.
Yeah.
They had said before that the scale is big, and so expect that. And so I'm excited for that. But I was a little concerned that upon resuming, during the pandemic, that they would try to actually scale it
like
back.
A skeleton crew or something. And
right.
Suddenly half the show is CG. And
yeah. I was excited to hear that there are still a lot of people working on the show.
Yeah, since wolves can't get COVID, maybe the wolves will start being the white cloaks. I don't know.
There you go. They have them fill in.
I can get behind. But anyway.
It's safe to say also that they are working on the final 2 episodes at this point, as Ciaran. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure this has got Gaelic roots, and I'm just not going to say his name correctly.
That's all good.
Ciaran Donnelly has been posting about being in Prague, and he's the director for the last 2. So he's also actually the most experienced of the 4 directors we have working on the show. So I'm hoping that means that they kind of brought in a cleanup batter to knock it out of the park after the other guys at least got it on to base solidly. And I really hope that analogy makes sense, because I don't sport.
I mean, the Braves are in the playoffs, I guess, but so is everybody else. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. This is go Braves or something. I, for one, will be curious to compare the last 2 episodes, given that they will have been shot during the pandemic.
Oh, yeah, true. Good point.
Whereas the others all would have been shot beforehand. They may have started on like the second to last episode but we'll know for sure the last episode pretty much in its entirety will have probably been shot after this point. So
right.
So it'll be interesting to see. The other big news, probably the biggest news that we'll cover in this episode, is the casting of Min and Swan.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I was totally wrong on all my guesses of how they were going to handle this, but
they were good guesses, though.
I tried my best. So Swan is going to be played by Sophie Econedo, probably best known for her role in Hotel Rwanda, for which she has garnered an Oscar nod. And while I would never have known her by name, she's actually had quite vast and far-reaching career that ranges from being, kind of the second lead character in Aeon Flux, to being in having reoccurring role in Doctor Who, to playing the native princess in the Ace Ventura sequel, and most recently being cast in Kenneth Branagh's Death on the Nile, the follow-up to 2017's Murder on the Orient Express, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Interesting.
As a fan of both Agatha Christie and Kenneth Branagh. I'm excited about this casting. She had an Oscar nomination, which to me puts her in close to the same plane as Rosamund Pike.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, like, they're kind of on the same level, which is
Right. Yeah.
I like that.
They're similar age to
she's a little older, but yeah, I guess that does sort of put to rest the idea that the stilled Aes Sedai are going to be de-aged. So I would say, it certainly fits for me in my head that the actress playing Swan would be older and more of a contemporary with Rosamund Pike. It's cool that she's credentialed. I mean, I love that, but like, just the idea that she was going to be this 20-something that they aged up instead of de-aging or whatever seems to be not the direction they're going to go. And that's okay. You think about like how many of these characters are young. It's okay that, we just basically have some that aren't. I mean, like,
Sure.
that aren't in their 20s or whatever. And,
Right.
And it also, if Gareth Bryn being like old and grizzled, it's maybe a little bit less weird.
Right.
That Swan is not 20-something looking. Like,
Yeah.
that would have been a little harder sell maybe in live action.
As we've talked about, the whole de-aging due to stilling is kind of an odd thing.
Yeah, it never really made much sense logically.
In addition to that, as we've said, while it does contribute to a few things, for example, Swan not always being recognized in the later books by people, and her having to being able to kind of disguise herself even among the Aes Sedai as being less influential. That's not too pivotal to her character, and so
it still does beg the question, like how they decided to do some sort of quote unquote agelessness, which has never been very well defined in my head.
Right.
If they could then undo that for her, it would have the same effect. But then again, I still don't know what that means, in terms of how you show that. Like,
right. Yeah. The only thing that I guess it was after the casting of Rosamund Pike that I kind of came to this, and that is the agelessness is kind of a modern day thing that we're a little bit used to because of just the modern health practices and skincare and cosmetics and everything. People are able to look younger for longer.
Yeah, that's fair. I've been my wife has been watching this trashy show on Netflix. I mean, she would say it's trashy. It's like Selling Sunset. And it's like kind of a mixture between HGTV and Jersey Shore. Like, it's just these terrible people who are selling houses in Hollywood. And there's another one in the Hamptons or something. But it's like just these awful, terrible people who are like really rich because they like make $1 million for every house they sell. And like, so you look at them, you're like, that lady could either be 45 or 22, and I'm just not quite sure which.
Right.
And so, yeah, I guess that's sort of an example of agelessness. And it's like, I just know that they're really trashy, and I don't know how old they are.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's kind of my takeaway from it, is that in the world of the Westlands, and they're not used to that. Like maybe we are, where, we have a lot of celebrities that tend to kind of stay within the same like 20-year range for about 30 years.
Sure. Just like, the like teen comedy era actors from the, the 90s, Freddie Prinze Jr. was like in his late 20s or 30s or whatever when he's playing an 18-year-old. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's pretty much what I'm saying. So that's what I'm seeing, and I think Sophie fits that too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, looking at various pictures of her, it just really depends on which one you look at to just like how old she would be. So I could definitely see them. I mean, she has good skin too, so like they could do something there if they could still de-age her if they wanted to.
Sure. And it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. That's, again, it's just one of those things. They could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I know some people will be upset if they undo it, but at this point, I'm like, well, I mean, either you have to do it digitally, or
Right, right.
I guess you could do it practically, and it won't be
Take
as big an
the Samuel
effect.
L. Jackson or Robert Redford or whatever approach
Right.
and
Yeah.
re-age. Yeah.
Or you'd have to recast her, and
Right,
I
right.
don't want that
Yeah,
either.
yeah, that would be no good. But
So
but that's a good point. Since it doesn't happen immediately, could be a viable option if they wanted to do that. Like, okay, she's the actress that's for the whole first season, and they get another one for the second season. But I'm with you; it's
right.
not really what I'd like to see.
Yeah. Anyway, I think she's a good pick. I think, I mean, we haven't even mentioned the fact that she's dark skinned.
Oh, right, yeah,
That's,
yeah.
I mean,
It's like not even an issue anymore,
right.
or if it
Yeah.
was never an issue for us, but it's like the show has gone all in on a multicultural cast, and
Right.
so that's par for the course.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if they'll do that with Tyrian folks, or
Yeah,
if
Tyrion, it like definitely makes sense to me as much as any other, as much as like say Shannarans being Asiatic, it makes sense for the Tyrion to be dark skinned of some kind. I feel like
Right.
it's been described that way, and maybe not always, but I've always pictured like Julian Sandar as being dark skinned or
Yeah.
swarthy, maybe Middle Eastern. Obviously, she is not Middle Eastern, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I could see that.
Right. I think I had just pictured them as more like Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, like
Sure. That makes sense too.
somewhere in there.
Sicilian or
But
something.
yeah, maybe. I guess I will say, just I lament just a little bit, is I feel like because they are going multicultural, which I'm for, I think Rafe is kind of avoiding, kind of these cultures having a racial kind of single profile,
Mm.
which it's okay, but I kind of miss it because it's one of the just it's an easy marker for identifying, oh, he's Saldaean, he's this, he's that, on the show, just to get as shorthand for that's a different culture. But with everything being kind of a melting pot, it'll have to be done in other ways, which it can be. We've gotten a ton of description,
Yeah.
obviously, of the
Right.
way people dress everywhere. So
True.
that'll be very important. And accents also. I'll be curious to hear if they do anything different.
Yeah,
But
thinking about the cultural, skin tone sort of thing a little, just as you were saying that, it just made me think that like, we've already sort of gone that direction a little bit with the Two Rivers itself. You see, Barney is
right.
Caucasian. The actress playing Egwene, whose name is eluding me at the moment.
Madeline Madden.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's Aboriginal.
Aboriginal. Okay, fair enough. So like I think we've touched on this before. Like we've already sort of gone that route, and Two Rivers being a sort of an isolated area, I think you can probably make a case for the mixing of the races having happened during the breaking of the world, perhaps.
Yeah,
and so
sure.
it's already it already might be, the world may already be enough of a melting pot, aside from like some exceptions like Shinar and the Borderlands in general. Like you could sort of see that, as opposed to somewhere like Tyr, which is like central in trade. It's a port. People are constantly coming and going. You could maybe more so see an argument for Tyrans being a melting pot than Shinarans or Malkieri, or whatever.
Right.
Just I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can see that. So it'll be interesting to see. I see Sophie is British.
Right.
They just mentioned the Tyrant accent, and of course, Swan's known for her colorful use of fish-related analogies and or curses. Or
yeah, we better get some fish analogies. Something about Silver Pike gutting a fish. Yeah, it's gonna have to happen.
Fish guts. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, excited about that. Excited to see her bring that character to life. Next is Min, who is going to be played by Kay Alexander, who played Leaf, one of the children of the forest in Game of Thrones.
Yep.
She's actually had a pretty impressive filmography for a relatively young actress. I say relatively because she is older than the Two Rivers Five, which is accurate to the books.
Men. Yeah, Min is supposed to be, I don't know, I always picture her being like mid-20s maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, just a little bit older. Yeah, more like, I guess I always put her more like closer to Nynaeve's age. but
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
she's also been in Krypton, the Superman prequel series.
Oh wow.
She had a small, which by the way, the director of the last two episodes, Kieran Donnelly, he also directed for Krypton.
Hmm.
So
Crossover, Krypton
there you
crossover.
go. And she had a small one in Ready Player One. She's had a lot of reoccurring principal roles in different TV series as well. She's done a lot of work, and I'm excited to see her in this. I've been tweeting at her with the podcast TSM Twitter account, asking her when she's going to come onto our show to do an interview, and so far she has not replied.
We'll hold out hope.
Yeah, so very very kindly go on your Twitter account and tag us in it and tag her in it and say, hey, these are nice
Please.
guys.
We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, that would be fun. I've said before that of the Rand wives, that Min is the one that I think fits Rand best.
Yeah. Oh man, I was reading something online the other day about speculation about what they might do with that. It might take, like, someone who was quoted, I don't know, as saying he might take more of a free love approach, and where like
Right.
Elaine might end up with Avienda, and like, okay,
Yeah,
I could see that subtext in the books certainly.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to think that's what's going to happen. It would play a lot better, nowadays
Right.
than.
I'm just saying, I would be shocked actually if they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Just because the fans in general seem to have. Some people act like it's just straight up there in the books already.
Oh, it's not directly, but it's like, the ideal kind of some of their cultural ideas are already kind of like, is that, are they, and so there's already there's a subtext, but it's never explicit for sure.
Right. Yeah. I think you have to take a solid step that's not there in the book to get there.
Sure.
Like I said, at this point I'll be shocked if they don't do something with that. But yeah, like more of an open relationship that.
Mhm.
And maybe that's part of the reason why I feel like Min and Rand work better together, is because there is this relationship, even if it's just like really close friends.
With Elaine, it was almost this like arranged thing. It's sort of weird. There's only a couple of interactions, and then there's sort of like pen pals off and on.
Right.
He doesn't see her at all for books and books and books, and they're like eighth grade, crushes that are like talking through people about.
Meanwhile, she and Avienda are hanging out for
they're like
several books.
Yeah, they are. They're getting very close. And really the whole interaction between Avienda and Rand is just like, it doesn't, if it would fit a lot better with her not being into him like that. It's
right.
kind of sisterly, but not necessarily brother sister. I don't know. But I think there's room for some complexity there, but also end up with what we're talking about.
Yeah. So certainly we'll see. As far as Kay Alexander goes, I think she's awesome. I love the picture they posted of her, has her with the short hair.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Everything. And I would very much, I'm not exactly anticipating it, but if she ever actually did respond to one of our tweets and was like, yeah, sure, we'll Skype or something, I would love to talk to her about it, because I do like the character of Min. I like her for it. And it'll be fun to see how that works out. It's funny because I think Rafe said that he kind of avoided people that had been on Game of Thrones because he didn't really want to draw the comparison.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we've brought it up, repeatedly.
Yeah. It's like impossible to not compare it to nowadays. Like, if the show had been coming out in 2003, we would have been comparing it to Lord of the Rings. But it isn't.
I think it speaks well for her that he was willing to break his own rule. She had a reoccurring role on the show, and he still wanted her in this role.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, it wasn't like a super major role in Game of Thrones anyway.
Right. It wasn't a huge thing at all.
Yeah, I mean, she had a bunch of prosthetics on, so I mean, she wasn't even recognizable. I forgot about that. Yeah, she, as the Children of the Forest, they're like kind of elves-ish. Not elves. I don't know what the comparison would be. There's not a good one. They're the Children of the Forest, whatever.
So one last bit of official news: the Wine Spring Inn, about a month ago on the Watt on Prime social media accounts, we were treated to an image of the Wine Spring Inn, which looks exactly the same way it looks in the leaked photos from several months back.
Shocker.
At that time, we weren't certain it was the Wine Spring Inn, but
Right,
it's
right. Well, that's a pretty good educated guess.
yeah, this looks pretty much the way it's described in the books. It's nice to guess, have it confirmed, I guess.
Yeah.
So there's that. If you haven't seen it by now, you can check it out. I think I reposted it to our Instagram, but of course, you're probably following Watt on Prime on all their accounts already, and you've probably already seen it because this was a month ago.
Right, right.
And we're having to play catch up. On to unofficial news. The big piece of unofficial news, and you can read all about it at fansided winteriscoming.net. If you go there, has a whole article that lists off all of these leaked audition tapes and scripts and different things. And there were some straight up tapes leaked that have all been removed. You can't really find them anymore. Then you have these also some scripts. The thing about it is, I was watching a thing of Daniel Green talking about the leaked tapes, and he said, and I totally agree with him. You're not going to get much out of these because, for one thing, the scripts are probably nothing like any script in the show.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of code words, like Naga instead of dragon, which Naga is like a dragon creature in World of Warcraft, at least. Oh, excuse me. It's a Hindu thing. So any Hindu folks listening, it's not just I know it's not just a World of Warcraft thing. I'm sorry. I've played World of Warcraft, and I'm not a practitioner of the Hindu religion. So I I apologize for my ignorant comment.
No worries. I'm glad you Googled that real quick while you were talking.
Yeah, it's like one of those things you're saying, and I'm like, am I sounding ignorant right now? Yes, I am.
Yes, I am. Yes, thank you. In addition to just random code words, pretty much all the characters' names are coded as well. For example, the very confusing one is that they have a Liana, but it's not spelled like our Liana.
Like Leona.
Yeah, more like Leona. But that's actually Leandrin is what we can take from context clues. And there's all these scripts for that you'll find on Winter is Coming, or maybe all of them are leaked for the character of Leandrin.
It's so funny that like Winter is Coming is covering this. Of course, Winter is Coming is a Game of Thrones reference, and like currently where we are in Wheel of Time, they would love for winter to come, but it just hasn't shown up yet, and it's really hot outside.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
Come on, winter, come on! It's so hot.
Yeah, you even have characters just labeled third person, second person, Aes Sedai. I think
they talk about the Red Sect. I was like, wait,
instead of Aja. So here I've brought a bit of script that now, without any preparation at all, Sam and I are going to do a dramatic reading.
Excellent.
Sam is going to play Leona,
all right,
and I will play the unnamed Aes Sedai. So we're gonna. I don't think I've even read this one.
All right.
So whenever you're ready.
You know we're still 200 miles, maybe more, from the temple. You really want to do this every night and day until we're there?
I rarely do things because I want to. They are both waiting for us at Asgard.
You know what the trial will decide. He's a man. He can channel. We will gentle him. Here or there, the result is the same.
The stone temple and the women within it have stood for 3,000 years, not because we did what was expedient, but felt appropriate at the time given the circumstances. We stand today because our sisters have always done what was right.
Well, I don't want to do my shifts with Mayara.
On that, at least, we agree.
Perhaps the last days are coming after all. Love it.
I don't think this reflects a real scene, probably. It may, who knows? Hard to say. Both audition scripts and audition tapes, all they tell you is the material used for auditions. And audition scripts, as I was saying, Daniel Green mentioned this. I mean, audition tapes, they don't really tell you what the character is even going to be like. They just show you what the casting director saw that made them go, yeah, okay, this person needs to come in and maybe do a screen test or whatever. And that,
Sure,
if
sure.
it's early in the process, they may be still pretty far off of it. And I mean, sometimes they're interesting. I don't know. On the special features of The Force Awakens, you can find Daisy Ridley's audition tapes, and she's pretty impressive there as far as her.
Huh.
You can see why she got cast as in that wonderful Mary Sue role.
And I read the other day she she was like having trouble getting work after the last movie. And that's like, ooh, that's what happened to Mark Hamill too.
Yeah, it's exactly what. Maybe she'll end up doing voice work.
I know, and I think I read maybe she was doing some voice work. I don't know. I'm serious. Like
that would be great. Who knows? Maybe she'll voice a really great villain in another decade or so. There's not much other unofficial news of any interest. The stars of the show occasionally post things to their Instagram that are kind of fun. Yosha posted a picture of himself.
Oh yeah, he was like working out, right, or something.
Yeah. He's posted several things, like he was in the gym. There's one where he posted, I think it was like the door of maybe his dressing room or something that had a photo of him with Rand written at the top.
Nice. Looking at his face, I definitely hope that they sort of do go the route of Rand starting to go crazy, and because I think he can do it really. I think Yosha can do it really well. I feel like he's going to be able to pull that off really well, of having a voice in his head, or however they portray that, as we've discussed.
I didn't dislike him before, but I'm definitely coming more around to him. The more stuff I see, I'm like, okay. Sure. We also had Daniel Henney, who plays Lan. He posted something that read, "The Jim Weaves is the Jim Wills."
Okay, maybe that's what I was thinking of.
They both posted about like working out and stuff.
Gotcha,
and and there may have been a few others, like that I've missed out on. You can go to our Facebook page or Instagram to see an image posted by Rosamund Pike that just says what weaves might look like, and it's not much. It's just a little kind of CG looking image, and it's pretty much
what I would have pictured, right? Too,
yeah. It's cool that she's teasing fans about this kind of tidbit to me. That she's aware that what weaves look like would be important to the fans, because it's an important visual element that is described, and everybody has an image of it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that might be slightly different for everybody, because while it is described, it's also not described in like super intricate detail the way some things are in the book.
True.
So I'll be curious to see how that turns up. So moving on to our mailbag.
All right.
It's been a while since we reached into the mailbag, since we didn't do a
while since I could say that I was.
It's been a while. Yeah, since we didn't do a show update back in September, we have a few extras. First off, like right after we posted our last show update in August, we got a DM on Instagram from Terry, who said that you would miss us while we were away and look forward to our return. Here we are.
Yeah. Thanks, Terry. Yeah. We appreciate that.
And it says, obviously, you'll have to do podcasts after each episide airs, as we need to know your thoughts and opinions and comparison between the book and the show. I think that's pretty much been the plan.
Yeah. And like looking at The Boys, they've tended to release it sometimes on Thursday night. I was going to see if there's a new one out. So that it's either going to be, we'll have to have a schedule for that. That'll be fun.
Right. Well, and I might cut this out, I don't know, but you and I, at least once, touched on the possibility of adding a third person, a specific third person, that would bring a different perspective as someone who hasn't read the books but will be watching the show for the first time. And we can always
it would be fun to have some guest stars like that.
Sure, folks that come in and
mix things up a little bit, talk about something specific maybe.
Yeah. Topic.
We'll play that. We'll play that here. It's a little way out, but it's something.
Right. We don't know how far out.
Exactly. Yeah. It's I want a real teaser, dang it. Not this
Yes.
like little thing, that little dinky thing we got.
Right. Yeah. So some people are so happy about that, and I'm like,
No.
I would have been happy about that like 8 months
Yeah,
ago.
when they announced they were doing the show, maybe something like that.
And but now I'm like, I want to see actual production video. I want to
Mhm.
see
Not some
clip
leaked stuff, something
something.
official that's got some
Yeah.
polish to it.
Right. I want to see exactly what weaves look like.
Hmm.
So anyway, also in the mailbag, around the same time, right after we finished that episode, a nice guy named Nate emailed us just to say that we're doing a great job and to keep up the good work. So
Thanks,
thank you,
Nate.
Nate.
Cool.
that
Excellent.
that was all with that, and then on our YouTube channel, which I need to update. On our YouTube channel, Virgil2 says, "Thanks, Sam and Will, for an awesome and entertaining summary and podcast. You guys have an awesome synergy, and I love your voices." Well, thank you. So keep up the good work.
Yeah, I can't say I exactly have that sexy radio voice, but hey, we're a podcast.
I definitely sound better than I look. That's all I can say. Ben Butler, also on YouTube, said he found us on YouTube and he just subscribed to the podcast. He's going to follow us from the start and go from there. But he likes the depth of dialogue.
Yeah, for the vast majority of this stuff, it's not exactly time sensitive since the books have been out since, the
Right.
90s.
Yeah, we are hoping to redo at least the first book or so at some point. So, Ben, if you find the early episodes to be less satisfying, then
There's a reason we're still figuring things out at that point.
we're taking them all again on that one. I can't remember if I included this in the last mailbag. Maybe I can't remember. But Nathan on Facebook said that he had just finished Fires of Heaven, and he really appreciated the line, "And Lanfear rearranged her vision board and decided to kill Rand." He said, "Great work, guys. Keep it up." So thank you. And thank you. And thank you. And thank you.
Yeah,
To
good stuff. Good,
all of our
good mailbag.
listeners.
We appreciate it, folks. Not
It really is. It is nice to hear.
It
Like, I mean,
is.
we're not making money off of this.
No.
Up to this point, we've not done a Patreon or
Right.
tried to get any like advertising money. I don't know if we even could, but
Right.
and that's allowed a lot of flexibility for us in doing it. It's made it so that it's still fun, I think, because of that. Like,
yeah, for sure.
we're not feeling any pressure to make it happen, and so we're just able to kind of go along at the pace that works for us, and we appreciate you guys being patient with us, and also this feedback, because this is the only payment we get other than just enjoying talking about books with each other.
Right. True. Yeah.
Anyway,
Very good point.
thanks.
All good stuff. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. I don't know why I got real country there for a second. Didn't mean to. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're at it, please leave us a review. Those are always helpful. Share us with your Wheel of Time loving friends. You can reach us at all the socials at Podcast TSM on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or you can visit our website at tsmpodcast.com. Fill out our contact form, say nice things, and as we've done today, we'll absolutely mention you on the show. And until next time, Tai'Shar Manethrin.